Tonight I'll be talking about the United States military overhaul. My opponent's main claim is the United States military overhaul will cause a fall in its global dominance. And his three secondary supporting claims were that the overhaul will cancel or postpone research and development projects vital for continued superiority. His second was the overhaul will divert funding to programs used to fight insurgency. And the third one was that the overhaul will reduce the lead in military technology the United States has over other nations. His first secondary claim, the overhaul will cancel or postpone research and development projects vital for continued superiority. The evidence he offers for this is indeed fact, but he only focuses on half the overhaul plan. For instance, Gates' overhaul cancels the production and research of the F-22 Raptor as well as a search and rescue helicopter program for the U.S. And he fails to address the issue that the money will now be devoted to developing and researching the F-35 Lightning II fighter jet, which according to the FAS is a stealth-capable military strike fighter that boosts improved survivability, precision engagement capability, and reduced life cycle costs. So by ignoring the fact the money is being devoted to another type of jet, he simply falsely supports the claim. Additionally, the Baltimore Sun reports that the military overhaul will not fund some high-tech naval vessels as well as stop the research of new armored vehicles and the production of C-17 transport planes. Once again, he fails to address the fact that the money will be devoted to a littoral combat ship as well as a terminal high-altitude area defense and the recruiting of 2,800 new special operations commandos. So yes, the overhaul does stop funding to some areas of research, but it just switches it over to others, which will not cause the U.S. to lose military dominance. His second claim was that the overhaul will divert funding to programs used to fight insurgency. Besides the fact that he offers no evidence to show that the overhaul will divert funds to insurgency, we'll assume that the evidence is true. I'm just going to show you that his reasoning is false. He says that because the U.S. is diverting some of the military funding to programs used to fight insurgency, the U.S. will now lose its superiority. Well, by saying that, he's basically offering a false dichotomy. Because we're offering some of our money to fight insurgency, we can no longer maintain military dominance. So that doesn't really make sense. I'm pretty sure we can devote some money to fight the insurgency as well as give some of the money to develop new planes and new defense systems, which I showed in the first claim. In the third claim, the overhaul will reduce the lead in the military technology the United States has over the other nations. He offers 4 other nations, specifically China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia, and he states that the overhaul will cause them to catch up to us and will allow them to close the gap that we have made over the past century. Once again, he offers no evidence. He doesn't give us any statistics on how rapidly technology is growing in China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia, and doesn't show that the gap will be closed because of the overhaul plan. But again, in my first claim, I showed that money will be devoted to F-35 Lightning II combat striker, the littoral combat ship, and the terminal high-altitude defense. So once again, the money is being devoted to new technology and advancement of technology, so that will not cause the other nations to catch up to us. So in conclusion, his 3 secondary claims were not supported because he failed to look at the second half of the overall plan that just simply devotes the money to new forms of advances of technology and research. And that's it.
All right, the structure is real easy to follow. On the first point, I like the information about the spending on the other program. I think we could use a little bit more data on that, although it sounds like you've got some research there. I didn't really get a very clear citation on that. The claim that the trade-off will still result in some advantage, for instance, I think that that's also something that needs to be developed. For instance, that those 2,800 Special Forces or that the other military jet will be just as secure, give us just as great a value in a defense system. That's a presupposition, and I think you could use some proof on that point. The transition on the second point is very clear. The idea that there's a false dichotomy being presented here, I thought that was okay. Challenge on the reasoning that the advocate's presenting. The third point, again, the signposting is very clear. I like the challenge on the lack of evidence. And then, especially, of course, is the issue about the ability of the other nations that are mentioned to close the gap. We don't have any idea how substantial the gap is and whether or not closing the gap represents a potential danger and how much of a difference there's going to be. Basically, we're talking about, I think, two of those three countries that are, well, one of those countries doesn't have nukes yet, we think. The other one that does have nukes is very early stage. And the other two, although they have nukes and a variety of other technology, we're not sure if we're running into any contest with them. I think if you went into a little bit more depth on that issue yourself, I agree with you, in other words, with the argument that the advocate didn't show that this is a particular problem, but I think you're missing the chance to follow through with some evidence that shows that, in fact, these countries do not present a particular threat to us or a significant threat, and that, in fact, we will be able to maintain sufficient advantage over them. I just think that's a lost opportunity. It's not something that's a problem per se in your argument. It's just one of those things that would have made it stronger. All right, I can tell everybody's listening intently to me until the second I stop talking so that you can launch out the door. 3, 2, 1, go! All right.